I welcome you all in our today's session, that is the poles and zeros of the system function for Z transform. Before going for the poles and zeros of a system function, we must know what is the system function. Okay, so in general, the system is described by a linear constant coefficient difference equation of the form y of n is equal to minus summation from k is equal to 1 to n ak y of n minus k plus summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk into x of n minus k. Okay, so this is the linear constant coefficient differential equation. Okay, now taking the Z transform on both the sides and applying the time shifting property, we obtain y of z is equivalent to minus summation from k is equal to 1 to n ak into y of z into z raised to minus k plus summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk into x of z into z raised to minus k. Okay, so we have seen the properties of the Z transform in our previous video. So in these properties we have studied or we have learned the time shifting property also. Okay, so from that or by applying that property of time shifting, we have the Z transform of y of n, because y of n minus k and x of n minus k are the time shifted version of y of n and x of n. Okay, so we have applied here the time shifting property. Okay, so in this way we have obtained the equation of y of z as minus summation from k is equal to 1 to n ak y of z to z raised to minus k plus summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk x of z into z raised to minus k. Okay, now simplifying this equation, we will collect the terms of y of z here. So we have y of z into 1 plus summation from k is equal to 1 to n ak z raised to minus k is equal to summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk into z raised to minus k x of z. Okay, now again rearranging the terms, we have y of z divided by x of z is equal to summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk z raised to minus k the whole divided by 1 plus summation from k is equal to 1 to n ak z raised to minus k. Okay, now what is this y of z divided by x of z? It is the transfer function of the system, or we can say this as a system function h of z. Okay, so this is nothing but, or h of z is known as the transfer function. Or it is the system function. Okay, so what is y of z? Y of z is nothing but the z transform of the output sequence y of n. Okay, and x of z is nothing but the z transform of input sequence x of n. So what is x of n? X of n is the input sequence to the system and y of n is the output sequence of the system, and h of z is nothing but the transfer function or system function of the provided system. If the input x of n is delta n, then x of z is equal to 1. In that case, okay, means if x of n is equal to delta n here, then x of z is equivalent to 1. In our previous videos, we have seen some standard Z transform or the Z transform for the standard sequences. So in that case, we have studied that if the sequence is delta n, then x of z is equivalent to 1. So if you replace this value in our equation, then here the h of z becomes equivalent to y of z. Okay, so where h of z is now becomes the z transform of the impulse response h of n. So if we know h of n and x of n, we can determine the corresponding values of z transform, that is h of z and x of z, and by multiplying them we can obtain the value of y of z. Okay, so here this is the system function. So system function is given by h of z is equal to y of z divided by x of z, which is nothing but summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk into z raised to minus k divided by 1 plus summation from n k is equal to 1 to n ak z raised to minus k. Okay, so this equation is the system function. Okay, now we will find out the poles and zeros of the system function for the Z transform. Okay, so we know the system function is given here as h of z is equal to summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk z raised to minus k the whole divided by 1 plus summation from k is equal to 1 to n ak z raised to minus k. Okay, the zeros of the system function h of z are the values of z for which h of z becomes equal to 0. Okay, so zeros of system function h of z are the values of z for which our h of z becomes equivalent to 0. Okay, so this is nothing but the zeros of the system function. Now what about the poles? The poles of system function h of z are the values of z for which the h of z becomes equal to infinity. Okay, so thus we can find out the zeros and poles of the system function by using the values of z. The system function described in the equation contains both the zeros and the poles, and hence this corresponding system is called as the pole zero system. Okay, so it is known as the pole zero system. Why? Because this equation contains both the poles as well as the zeros. Okay, so here n is the number of poles and m are the number of zeros. Okay, so here if ak is equivalent to 0 for 1 or k lies in between 1 to n, okay, then the equation reduces to h of z is equal to summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk to z raised to minus k. Okay, so as the ak is equivalent to 0 for all the values of k from 1 to n. Okay, so replacing this value of ak here in this equation, our h of z reduces to only summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk into z raised to minus k. So in this case, h of z contains m zeros and the mth order pole at the origin z is equal to 0. Okay, so here how many zeros will be there? So m zeros are there and mth order pole at the origin z is equal to 0. Okay, such a system is called the all zero system. Okay, so this system is nothing but the all zero system. Okay, now if it has a finite duration impulse response FIR, and it is called as the FIR system or a moving average system. Okay, so this is the FIR system or moving average system. Okay, so on the other hand, if Bk is equivalent to 0 here for 1 or k lies in between 1 to m, then the system reduces to, okay, if you replace the value of Bk is equal to 0 in our equation of system function, what is our h of z? H of z becomes equivalent to B0 divided by 1 plus summation from k is equal to 1 to n ak z raised to minus k. Okay, so in this case now h of z consists of n poles. Okay, and the nth order 0 at the origin. Okay, so at z is equal to 0. So such system is called as the all pole system. Okay, so here when ak is equal to 0, then the system is called as all zero system, and when bk is equal to 0, then the system is called as the all pole system. Okay, so due to the presence of poles, the impulse response of such a system is infinite in duration. So it is a IIR system. Okay, so this is also known as the infinite impulse response system. Okay, so all zero system is a finite impulse response system, while the all pole system is the infinite impulse response system. Okay, so this is the pole and zeros of a system function. Okay, now we are going to see the stability criteria for the system. Okay, what is the stability criteria for the provided system here? Okay, now we prove that the system having system function is stable if and only if all poles of h of z are inside the unit circle. Okay, so what is the criteria for a system to be stable? It is one condition is there that the all poles of h of z should be inside the unit circle. Okay, so we know that here the necessary and sufficient condition for a causal linear time invariant system to be BIBO stable is, okay, the condition we have seen in our earlier videos, that it is n is equal to 0 to infinity, modulus of h of n, okay, should be less than infinity. That means it should be a finite value. Okay, now for the causal system, we have h of z is equivalent to summation from n is equal to 0 to infinity h of n z raised to minus n. Okay, now modulus of h of z is equal to summation from n is equal to 0 to infinity modulus of h of n into z raised to minus n. Okay, so it should be less than or equivalent to summation from n is equal to 0 to infinity modulus of h of n into modulus of z raised to minus n. Okay, so when evaluated on the unit circle, that is modulus of z is equal to 1. Okay, so replacing this value, we have modulus of h of z is less than or equivalent to summation from n is equal to 0 to infinity modulus of h of n should be less than infinity. Okay, so for a stable system of ROC of the system function includes the unit circle. But for the causal system, the ROC is the exterior of the sum circle of radius r. So, a causal and stable system must have a system function that converges for z greater than r and less than 1. Okay, since ROC cannot contain any pole of h of z, the causal linear time invariant system is bipostable if and only if all the poles of h of z are inside the unit circle. Okay, so this is the condition for stability, or this is the criteria of stability for the provided system. Okay, the relation in between Fourier transform and the Z transform is, we are going to see now. Okay, so the relationship between the Fourier transform and the Z transform. Okay, so what is the relation in between the Fourier transform and the Z transform? Okay, so here we will see the relationship in between the transfer function h of e raised to j omega and the system function h of z. Okay, so this is nothing but the transfer function h of e raised to j omega, and this is the system function h of z of a provided system. Okay. Okay, and this is the system function. Okay, now the relationship helps us in evaluating the Fourier transform in the z plane. Okay, so we know that the z transform of h of n is given by the equation h of z is equal to summation from n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity h of n into z raised to minus n. Okay, now we know that z is equivalent to e raised to j omega multiplied by r. Okay, now substituting this value in our equation of h of z, we have h of r into e raised to j omega is equal to summation from n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity h of n multiplied by r into e raised to j omega raised to minus n. Okay, so here we have the equation for the Fourier transform. Okay, if you replace the value of r is equal to 1 in this equation, so what we have, okay, for r is equivalent to 1, we have h of e raised to j omega is equal to summation from n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, okay, h of n multiplied by e raised to j omega n. Okay, now what is this equation? This equation is nothing but the Fourier transform of our sequence h of n. Okay, so it is identical to the Fourier transform when r is equivalent to 1. So in the z plane, this corresponds to the locus of points on the unit circle. Modulus of z is equivalent to 1. So hence here the h of e raised to j omega is equal to h of z evaluated along the unit circle. Okay, so we can say that h of e raised to j omega is nothing but h of z over z is equivalent to e raised to j omega. Okay, so for h of e raised to j omega to exist, the ROC of h of z must include the unit circle. Okay, so here ROC of h of z must include the unit circle. This is the condition. Okay, so here this is the relation in between the z transform and the Fourier transform. Okay. So in this session we have seen the system function, okay, and the relationship in between the Fourier transform and the Z transform. Also, we have seen the poles and zeros for the provided system function. Okay, I hope this session will be helpful for you for solving the problems related to Z transform. Thank you.